we're here at the National Urban Security Technology Lab, and we're standing in front of something very, very special indeed. It's an actual piece of the World Trade Center. Now, the National Urban Security Technology Lab is not new. It was founded in the Cold War, and it was in this very building on the 5th floor before, but we're here today because it's a big reveal, very new, cutting-edge stuff going on all over this new floor. And we're here with Dr. Daniel Gerstein, who's going to tell us a bit more about why this lab is just so very important to national security and the security here in New York City.
What's unique about this lab is that we do focus on the radiological and nuclear threats, and it gives us a unique space to work in. But more importantly, we're also building relationships as we help the first responders and give them gear that will assist in doing their missions. You saw today that we had a specialized fighter fire gear that had a downsized oxygen system, which allows for a lower profile. It gives the first responder, the firefighter, the opportunity to be able to have a much lower profile, get in, and be able to do the business that they have to do.
As far as equipment goes, we are always looking to upgrade equipment. There's always new equipment coming out.
Mm-hmm.
We do a lot of piloting before we implement anything, and we always have something new. So that's one aspect of how we benefit from a lab like this and from the overall oversight that's provided by Science and Technology Group. At the same time, the detecting equipment, some of it changes quickly, some of it basically stays the same, but you want it to perform better, and I think the most important aspect of it is how is it networked now to provide that blanket of security for the end users, which are the first responders.
Here at New Steel, we have a long history as a radiation lab, dating back to the Manhattan Project.
Mm-hmm.
And our mission has been shifting the last few years to do more first responders, and aiding in potential incidents in New York City.
Okay.
And to support us in that mission, we have this lab.
Okay.
And we have a variety of sophisticated radiation detection equipment here.
Mm-hmm.
Inside these very heavy lead shields, we have high purity germanium detectors,
mm-hmm.
and these are good at quantifying and detecting how much radiation is in an object and what isotopes are emitting the radiation.
And what's going on over here?
So this is another piece of equipment. It's a liquid scintillation counter.
Whoa! Whoa!
The way these work is...
Is that how you make hulks in here?
We could try. We haven't yet, but it's an area to expand into.
Okay.
So the way these work is if you have a radioactive liquid, you add we call it a liquid scintillation cocktail, and it converts the radiation into visible light. So it's basically just a complicated box for detecting little bits of visible light.
Okay.
So the system slides back. These individual vials drop into the detector in a very dark place, and it just counts the light it sees coming off it. And from that, we can tell how radioactive the liquid that we're measuring is.
Cool. So now we're going to hand over to your wingman, Brian Albert, here in the Gamma, where they don't make hulks, they tell me, lab. What do you got going on over here?
Okay, this is the Radiological Emergency Management System, REMS.
Okay,
and
so it looks, I'm not going to lie, it looks a little boring.
Okay.
It looks like he's got some pretty jazzy stuff going on over there.
Right.
This kind of just looks like a big white cylinder, but the kicker is it does some terribly important stuff, right? So could you explain why it's so sexy?
It can be very important.
Okay.
What it is a post-event gamma radiation detection network.
Okay.
And there are sensors like this all over New York City.
Wait,
right
already? They're all over New York City?
Yeah,
That's
there's
so cool.
about 25 of them.
Okay.
Distributed throughout the city evenly.
Right.
And
so it makes sense that it doesn't look all big and scary because it's already out there fielded.
That's right. We want it to look like an ordinary device that nobody would know anything is going on here.
Mm-hmm.
So these detectors transmit data to a central command center run by the New York City Police Department.
Okay.
At that command center, and the radiation levels are mapped on software.
Okay.
And in the event that there is some kind of release of radiation in the city, they can very quickly determine how much it is and what areas are affected and where it's spreading. And this is very important data to have to make decisions such as what buildings should be sheltered in place,
Okay.
what neighborhoods can be evacuated, where can you safely send first responders. So having this information is very important for response and recovery operations to some kind of events in the city.
We've got right here something pretty special. Ethel, could you just tell us a little bit? We've got a couple examples here.
This is some of the equipment that we actually have in lab. These are radioisotope identifiers. So what these units do is they don't only just detect radiation and the level of radiation, but each isotope that gives off energy and is radioactive that you may trace with one of these detectors has a particular energy signature. And this equipment detects the energy and categorizes it such that it can tell you, as long as that signature is in its library, can tell you what radiation is actually there, what type.
Okay.
It's cesium, it's cobalt.
Oh, wow.
So,
okay.
you know,
It's like the periodic table kind of
exactly.
situation. All right.
Exactly.
I get
so,
it.
these are a little bit more expensive than what you would typically have the first line of detection, which is these
Ooh,
personal
can I see
radiation
that?
detectors.
Very cool. I want one of those.
These are more
It's so
typical
cute.
of first line, what you would
Okay.
have somebody on patrol wear.
Okay.
And this is going to give you an indication and also a level.
Okay.
And these are customizable to basically alarm at whatever point you want them to, for safety, you know, for maybe safety reasons as well, to back off. These units you would bring in. These are more specialized units. There's a lot more training when you deploy for a operator of this type of equipment.
Okay.
And so these would be more of your next response teams that would come in and use this equipment.
We're now in the health and physics room. Might sound a little bit boring, like we're supposed to be doing jumping jacks or something. Quite the contrary. I'm here with Carl Schopfer, and he is the guru of this very cool room. We're going to get to see some of the toys and how first responders train for very dangerous scenarios. Carl, what do we have in our hands? What would I be training to do with this?
These are personal radiation detectors
Okay.
that responders, police, and fire can wear on their belts, and they detect radiation.
Okay.
So they're trained how to use the equipment, and we bring sources into the field. Once they learn how
So
to use
sources
it,
would be like,
radioactive
okay,
sources, right? And once they learn how to use it, then they're trained on various scenarios. For example, they may receive a hit or
So
a
what
positive indication.
would this be?
And this would be a dummy mock-up.
Okay.
So they would learn how to approach the suspect,
Okay.
find out if maybe he's had a medical treatment or maybe he's carrying something that's legitimate,
Okay.
because radiation is everywhere.
So they're kind of beeping
And they would
because.
either beep or they can keep it silent.
Okay.
So that the person doesn't know that why they're being approached, just from standpoint of security and privacy. And then they would ask them the various questions that they need for determining what the situation is. Maybe it's a medical exposure, and then maybe they're carrying something. So they might ask, could I use your backpack or
Like
take it
this
away?
backpack?
Right.
Okay.
So the police learn how to approach subjects. This is things they do all the time with other things like
Sure.
drugs or paraphernalia or weapons. And each of these 4 mannequins is a scenario
Okay.
that the police learn how to separate from a crowd. Maybe one person is hot and the others are not.
Oh, I see. Okay, so this one has had
This
prostate
one-
treatment
right,
in this scenario.
Right. So they would ask.
This one's had thyroid
Right,
treatment.
and a patient might have, for example, a letter from the hospital that says,
okay.
"Oh, I've had a treatment or whatever," and they should. Every patient that has a treatment should have a letter with them. And they may have something natural like potassium salt or bananas, Brazil nuts or something if they have enough quantity of them.
No way.
can
Are you
give you-
telling me if I carried a backpack of
carried a
Brazil
big
nuts,
pack,
I'd be
these-
bleeping
yeah.
these all over the
Well,
city
not
with
that high, but
NYPD?
it's always
Okay.
chance that you get a low level. You can
Okay.
see
Oh, you're just going to say,
That's right.
wait for this one, guys. Kitty litter. Who knew?
That's
Let's take a
right,
look at
yes.
this.
If you have a shipment of kitty litter, it has natural level thorium and other radioactive materials. It's very safe.
Yeah.
But these are also very sensitive.
Okay.
So the police
Which is a
will
good thing.
find it, right.
Right.
So then the police have to decide, is this just a natural thing or is it a source of interest?
Okay.
And at the border, about 30% of the hits that they find turn out to be a shipment of kitty litter.